Hey kids, Evil-Linn here. And, by the power of Grayskull, let's talk Andor. What makes Andor so outstanding is its writing and storytelling. This show dared to slow down and actually develop its story, and the payoff is huge. It's smart, patient, and trusts the audience's intelligence. There's no hand-holding and definitely no cutesy fan service distractions. It's all raw story. Honestly, at times it doesn't even feel like other Star Wars shows, in a good way. It's more like an amazing espionage thriller that just happens to be set in the Star Wars universe. The dialogue is rich, the monologues are fabulously poetic, and the plot twists actually land. Andor proves you don't need Jedi or lightsabers every 5 minutes to keep things exciting. The tension and drama come from the characters and the high-stakes situations they're thrown into. It's political and relevant, cutting deep into the experience of oppression and revolution, yet it's also just damn good television in its own right. The show's slow-burn pacing might seem chill at first, like characters having conversations and planning, but trust me, stick with it. Every little scene is a building block leading to a satisfying crescendo of action and emotion. By the end of each arc, I was literally on the edge of my seat, nails bitten, heart racing. Unlike some other Star Wars shows that might rush from one big action set piece to another, Andor takes its time to earn those explosive moments. The result? When things go down, you feel it. The entire Narkina 5 prison arc, for example, meticulously builds from quiet dread to full-blown rebellion, showing how good storytelling lays stones in a pathway toward an epic conclusion. By the time the prisoners are ready to riot, you're so invested that you'll be cheering and maybe crying. I definitely teared up. It's that powerful. And can we talk about how grown-up this show is? Like, it does not feel like it was made for kids at all. Andor doesn't shy away from tough topics. Tyranny, sacrifice, moral ambiguity, and it handles them with a maturity and complexity that honestly puts a lot of prestige dramas to shame. This is Star Wars with its big girl pants on, okay? It's the kind of show where even if you stripped away the Star Wars label, it'd still be an incredible political thriller. I know people who aren't even Star Wars fans who got hooked on Andor because it's just that well-written and gripping. The quality transcends the franchise. The characters in Andor are everything. They are so well written and acted that I found myself caring about all of them. Heroes, villains, and those morally grey in-between folks. This show isn't just about Cassian Andor, it's about a whole ensemble of characters, each with their own story, all converging in this fight against the Empire. Diego Luna, our boy Cassian Andor. Remember him from Rogue One? In Andor, we get to see his journey from a cynical, reluctant guy just trying to survive into a passionate rebel leader. In Season 1, Cassian starts off basically saying, "I know what I'm against." He literally says he's against the Empire, but doesn't really have a grand plan beyond that. He's not a wide-eyed idealist, he's more like realistic and a bit selfish at first, which makes his growth so satisfying. By the end, and definitely through Season 2, he becomes the leader we know from Rogue One, the guy willing to sacrifice everything for the rebellion. Diego Luna's performance is subtle and so authentic. Cassian is not a space wizard or a chosen one. He's an ordinary man who's been oppressed and finally says, "Enough." I love that about him. Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen Rail. Okay, I have to fangirl about Luthen for a sec. Luthen is this mysterious rebel spy master and possibly the most fascinating new Star Wars character in ages. He has a monologue in Episode 10, Season 1, that gave me full-body chills. In one haunting speech, Luthen basically delivers a meditation on what it truly means to sacrifice for a cause. He says stuff like he's given up everything, love, peace, even his soul, to fight the Empire. It's heart-wrenching and badass. Skarsgård just owns that scene. Fun fact, that monologue has been compared to the famous "Tears in the Rain" speech from Blade Runner. In terms of impact, it's that good. Luthen's character shows the shadowy side of rebellion, the spies and schemers who do the dirty work so others can have hope. He's morally grey, and the show doesn't shy away from that. By Season 2, the stakes catch up to him. I won't spoil too much, but let's just say he truly practices what he preaches about sacrifice. Skarsgård's performance is chef's kiss. If you watch any scene from Andor, watch that episode 10 monologue. In Season 1, even after Cassian's adoptive mother, Marva Andor, played by Fiona Shaw, is gone, she literally sparks a rebellion. Marva delivers an incredibly inspiring speech via hologram at her own funeral, basically telling the people of Ferrix to fight the Empire. Fiona Shaw's performance is so heartfelt, it felt like listening to some historic revolutionary figure. Her line, "Fight the Empire," gave me goosebumps. And that moment leads to an explosive uprising on Ferrix. It's another example of how Andor's writing shines. A deeply emotional, personal moment becomes the catalyst for larger action. Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma gets a rich subplot in Andor. We see her in the Imperial Senate and in her luxurious yet suffocating home life on Coruscant. She's basically living a double life, a senator trying to reform things diplomatically by day and secretly funding the rebellion by night. Andor gives Mon so much depth. We feel her stress as she juggles political pressure, family drama, her teenage daughter and sketchy husband, Perrin, and the fear of getting caught. There's a heart-wrenching bit where Mon considers arranging a marriage for her daughter to secure funding for the rebels. Like, that's how far she's pushed. The show beautifully illustrates her sacrifice. She's risking not just her life, but her family and reputation. Oh, and also as a fashion lover, I have to just say Mon's outfits in this show are on point. I totally cosplay her elegant Chandrilan dresses. But beyond fashion, Genevieve O'Reilly portrays her with such grace and quiet strength. By the end, Mon is stepping up as one of the key architects of the Rebel Alliance, and it's amazing to watch how Andor gets her there. Denise Goff's Dedra Meero and Kyle Sollers' Cyril Khan. I never thought I'd be this invested in the Imperial side of a Star Wars story, but here we are. Dedra is an ISB officer, and she is fierce. In Season 1, we watch her rise in the ISB ranks by being smart and ruthless. Honestly, I caught myself almost rooting for her to outmaneuver her idiot male colleagues. They seriously underestimated her. She's essentially an antagonist, but Andor makes her compelling by showing how the Empire's tyranny operates from the inside, with ambition, paranoia, and a whole lot of oppression. Cyril Khan starts as a wannabe corporate security guy with an overdeveloped sense of duty. He kind of screws up royally early on, that Ferrix incident in the first few episodes, but he becomes obsessed with catching Cassian. His arc is surprising, and his awkward stalker crush on Dedra is equal parts cringe and intriguing. These two characters show another side of the story, how people get caught up serving the Empire. It's not glamorized at all. If anything, it highlights the banality of evil. Dedra's pushing paper and competing in meetings. Cyril's stuck in a dull desk job fantasizing about glory. It's so realistic. By Season 2, their paths cross in a crazy way, and it adds even more tension. The fact that Andor gives us such a nuanced view of the villains is proof of how next level the writing is. I could go on and on. Shout out to Vel and Cinta for being an awesome rebel duo, and B2 Emo the droid for being the cutest sad little robot ever. But let's get to one of the biggest standouts of Andor, the Manifesto. So remember Karis Nemik? If not, he's the young, idealistic rebel from the Aldhani heist group in Season 1, the cute, nerdy kid always spouting philosophy and writing in his little journal. Nemik may have been a side character, but his impact is huge. He wrote a manifesto about freedom and tyranny that encapsulates everything Andor is about, and the show brilliantly weaves this manifesto into the story, especially by the end of Season 1 and into Season 2. When Nemik tragically dies in the Aldhani mission, R.I.P. Nemik, he leaves his manifesto to Cassian. At first, Cassian's like, okay, thanks, because he isn't quite a believer yet. But in the Season 1 finale, we actually hear Nemik's words spoken aloud. Cassian listens to the recorded manifesto on his old ship while hiding on Ferrix. It's chills-inducing. Nemik's voice narrates about how oppression always fails and how every small act of rebellion matters, right as we're watching the people of Ferrix literally rise up against the Empire. Talk about powerful storytelling synergy. Nemik basically narrates Cassian's present and future, foreseeing how all these little rebellions will build into something unstoppable. It's like he's speaking to Cassian's soul, nudging him fully onto the path we know leads to Rogue One. One line from Nemik's Manifesto totally gives me goosebumps and, to me, encapsulates the entire show. And remember this, the Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks, it leaks, authority is brittle, oppression is the mask of fear. I mean, wow. That right there? That's Andor's thesis in a nutshell. The Empire is so desperate to crush freedom because deep down, it's scared. Andor illustrates this beautifully. You see the Empire scrambling to keep people down, and you see ordinary people slowly realizing their power. As Nemik says, tyranny is brittle. Push it enough and it falls apart. The show gives us countless moments that prove this line true. From the prison break, the Empire thought they had total control, and surprised, they didn't. To the Ferrix uprising, where a funeral speech lights the spark of revolt. Nemik's Manifesto also talks about how freedom is a pure idea and how even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. That philosophy runs through every storyline in Andor. Like Cassian helping those 2 random prisoners escape in Season 2 might seem small, but it matters. Mon Mothma making one risky bank transfer or even being kind to someone can ripple out. The show is essentially about the power of individuals, how regular, not superpowered people can stand up to a giant empire, piece by piece. Nemik believed that wholeheartedly, and ultimately, Cassian, and we as viewers, come to believe it too. What's really awesome is how Season 2 pays off the Manifesto in an even bigger way. We find out that Nemik's words have been circulating all over the galaxy. Even high-up Imperials can't ignore it. There's a scene of Major Partagaz, an ISB boss, listening to the Manifesto recording in disbelief, hearing lines like, "The frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and tyranny requires constant effort." It gave me goosebumps to see the Empire basically haunted by this slain rebel's words. They try to snuff it out, but they can't because the truth is spreading. By the final episodes, Nemik's Manifesto has essentially become the voice of the rebellion's spirit. And in the climax of Season 2, as things are coming to a head, you feel Nemik's prophecy coming true. And then, there will be one too many. One single thing will break the siege. We as Star Wars fans know the one single thing is the Battle of Scarif in Rogue One, the first big rebel victory. Nemik basically called it. And Andor beautifully bridges that gap, showing how we get there. I just can't overstate how much I love the inclusion of the Manifesto. It's like the soul of the show. And as a nerdy girl who might have written some fanfic manifestos in her teens, I was living for the idea that words can ignite a rebellion. Nemik is basically the geeky hero whose essay ends up changing the galaxy. How cool is that? Before I wrap up, I've got to mention the production quality. Andor looks incredible. The cinematography is gorgeous. The show ditched the ultra-polished, green-screeny look and often filmed on real locations or huge, detailed sets, which gives everything a tangible, gritty feel. Whether it's the bustling scrapyards of Ferrix or the pristine but soulless halls of Coruscant, the worlds feel lived in. The action scenes are filmed with a steady hand. You can actually follow what's happening. And when the show does visual effects, it's on feature film level. The Eye of Altani scene was straight up breathtaking. The music, by Nicholas Britell, is so unique for Star Wars. It's moody, atmospheric, even experimental at times. Each arc had its own musical flavor, and the main theme subtly evolved episode by episode. I noticed, and I geeked out on that detail. It's like the show was crafted with so much care and respect for the audience. They weren't trying to sell toys or make cute, gifable baby aliens. They were making art. And the tone. I love it. It's mature and dark in places, but not grim for the sake of it. It's hopeful in the end. Like, I feel Andor resonated with me not just as a Star Wars fan, but as an adult who worries about the state of the world. It's strangely cathartic and inspiring to watch these characters fight back against fascism and know that, eventually, they win. At a great cost, yes, but they win. This show just hits on another level. To sum up my gushing, Andor is a masterpiece. The writing, top tier. The characters, complex and unforgettable. The performances, Emmy-worthy. The themes, powerful and relevant. It's Star Wars grown up, without losing the heart. In fact, I'd say it has more heart than ever, just in a tougher, more realistic package. It's even rewatchable because there's so much layering and foreshadowing you catch the second time around. And as someone who loves cosplaying, I now have so many new ideas. Cassian's rugged look, Mon Mothma's glam gowns, Dedra's immaculate Imperial uniform. This show satisfied the nerd in me and the film buff in me simultaneously. If you haven't watched Andor yet, whoops, I guess I spoiled a lot, but trust me, it's still worth seeing unfold. Do yourself a favor and go binge it. It's not just a great Star Wars show, it's a great show, period. For me, Andor has set a new standard. As Nemik wrote, freedom is a pure idea, and Andor was the purest idea of what Star Wars could be when it truly tries. And wow, did they ever succeed. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I plan on doing a lot more videos like this, so stay tuned. And if you loved Andor as much as I did, drop a comment and let's gush together. Now be gone, puny human, for there is evil to be done.